Hey everybody, what I've got here is a custom run Georgia Central GP9. It's made by MTH and we're going to check it out right now on Eric's Trains. Alright, so this is a 3-rail O-scale Premier Line GP9 from MTH, and as I said, it's a custom run that was done by Legacy Station, which is the train store that I buy most of my trains from. They're located across town from me in Lilburn, Georgia, and Legacy has done a lot of custom runs over the years with both Lionel and MTH, and usually those custom runs have something to do with Georgia, because obviously Legacy Station is in Georgia, just like me. So they've got this new Georgia Central GP9 from MTH. A few years ago, they did a Central of Georgia Lionel F3 set. They also did a Central of Georgia Lionel SD70 not too long ago. And last year they did an MTH Rail King Stone Mountain Railroad GP7 that was really nice. I reviewed that last year. And of course they're doing the custom run Eric's Trains Lionel ES44 that's coming out later this year. So yeah, lots of custom runs from Legacy Station, and this is the latest. And I gotta say, it's really a pleasure to be reviewing a brand new locomotive from MTH again. It's been a while. So as I'm sure most of you know, MTH has undergone some changes in the last few years. After Mike Wolf left the company, they had to sell what I'm told is about 20% of their tooling in order to get the capital to keep the company running. And so yeah, they're still making trains. They haven't gone away. They're just not as big as they used to be, but they're still doing select runs and custom runs like you see here. So rather than being a train maker, you know, the size of Lionel, if I had to guess, I'd say they're probably somewhere between a third rail and an Atlas now. You know, a smaller company that's doing, like I said, select runs and custom runs and things like that. But the stuff they're putting out is as good as it's always been. It's made in the same factories, it's made of the same materials, it's got the same level of detailing, and of course it's got Protosound 3 on the inside. So in a nutshell, if you've liked MTH models in the past, you'll like the models they're making now. So what I'll do is start off with some stats and facts and figures on this model, then we'll go in for a closer look at some of the details, and then we'll wrap things up by taking this thing for a spin around the layout. Alright, first up, let's see how long this thing is. So from step to step, it's about 13 3/4. If we include the plow is packaged separately in the box when you buy the locomotive, and you can attach it with a couple of screws as I've done. And if we include the plow, well, then that brings it to right at 14 inches. And if we include the big O-gauge couplers, well, then we're at about 14 3/4 inches. And we'll bring in the scales to see how much it weighs. And it comes in at 4 pounds, 2.7 ounces. Not bad. I also tested the pulling power, and it came in at 2 pounds, 8 ounces, which is right where I would expect it to be. And the minimum curve needed to operate this engine is 0.31, which means this model is friendly to smaller layouts with tight curves. Construction on this model is a combination of die-cast metal, sheet metal, ABS plastic, and brass. So you've got die-cast metal for the trucks, the couplers, the pilot, and the fuel tank. You've got wire handrails, a sheet metal frame, ABS plastic shell, and then brass for the screens and the grab irons and so forth. On the inside, this has everything you'd expect from a Premier Line MTH locomotive. We've got the twin flywheel motors, one above each truck. Obviously, you've got Protosound 3 and a fan-driven smoke unit, and then LED lighting. Now we'll go in for some close-up views, starting with the front of the locomotive. And yes, this is the front because this model is configured to run long hood forward. And you can tell that because, well, first of all, the F is on this end. Secondly, the crew figures in the cab are facing this way. And finally, when you start this locomotive up, as you'll see in a few minutes, the default forward direction is this way. Alright, so we've got that add-on plow piece that I mentioned earlier. And by the way, this can go on either side of the locomotive. It doesn't just have to go on the front. We've got drainage holes in all the steps. Nice MU hoses on either side of the big O-gauge coupler. There's a coupler cut bar above all that. Got a metal safety chain up here, and we've got safety tread on all the walkways. Above the pilot, we've got lots of add-on metal grab irons, lighted number boards, a headlight in the middle, and then classification lights on the corners. Here's a look at those die-cast metal truck side frames, and as you can see, they are very well done, par for the course for MTH. And as we start down the side, we've got some nice molded in details and then some nice add-on metal screening. And here's a close-up of that Georgia Central logo, which looks fantastic. And in the foreground, you can see some of the wire handrails. Moving toward the cab, we've got another add-on metal screen and then some really nice legible signage below that. We've got add-on windshield wipers on all the windows of the cab, and then the cab itself has a lighted interior, and there are 2 hand-painted crew figures. The doors on the cab do open, although I'm not going to open it for you because you have to turn this latch down here, and I don't want to scratch anything, so I'm just going to leave it as is. But then we've got this really cool thing here, 0 injuries, our goal every day. Nice. And then on the front you can see we've got more add-on grab irons, more classification lights, lighted number boards, and another backup light / headlight. The rooftop of the GP9 looks just as good as anywhere else. We've got lots of add-on metal lift rings and grab irons. We've got rivets molded into the plastic body. And then we've got these nicely detailed fans, and inside there are free spinning fan blades. Then we've got some more cool fan action here, and check out this vent detail. It looks great. And then we've got the 2 smokestacks that go down to the fan-driven smoke unit. And just like most other locomotives, to add smoke fluid to the smoke unit, you pour the smoke fluid directly down the smokestack, either one. And then here we are at the other end. We've got a nice add-on metal horn and this really cool looking add-on metal bell. It looks great. And lastly, here's a look at the underside of the GP9. You know, one thing I always love about MTH diesels is the abundance of center rail pickup rollers, and this does not disappoint. We've got 4 pickup rollers, 2 per truck, for good solid center rail power. We've got 4 traction tires, 2 here and 2 here. All axles are driven on this locomotive. The speaker for the sound system is here in the middle, and then we've got 2 control knobs. There's one here for the master volume control, and then there's one over here that you can't see for the master's smoke volume control. Okay, the last thing we're going to do before we start this thing up is BFIMO, best feature in my opinion. And my favorite feature on this locomotive is the sound set. It actually sounds really, really good. It's been a while since I heard a nice growly MTH diesel locomotive, and it was a lot of fun when I first powered this thing up and took it for its first spin. So yeah, the sound set is fantastic, and you're going to hear it right now. right, so there you have it, the MTH Premier Line Georgia Central GP9 custom run by Legacy Station. I think this is a really cool model. It looks great, it runs great, it sounds great. What's not to like? And you know what? Before I published this video, I published a quick YouTube short of this locomotive doing a run by, and I saw several comments from viewers saying that they were really happy to see this locomotive because Georgia Central is a road name that they don't see very often on models. And I thought about it, and they were right. You know, I don't ever recall seeing Georgia Central on any O-scale locomotive before. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but I don't recall ever seeing it. And so in my mind, that makes it really special and unique. So if you'd like to pick one of these up for yourself, I think Legacy Station still has a few units available, and the sale price on these is actually pretty good. It's right at $470, which I think is a great price considering how much other locomotives from other manufacturers cost, and considering inflation and all the stuff that's been going on the last couple of years. $470 is a very nice price for something like this. So you can find Legacy Station on the web at legacystation.com or give them a call at 770-339-7780. If you'd like to support this channel, I would greatly appreciate it. That can be done through Patreon at patreon.com/ericstrains. I've also put a link to my Patreon page in the video description below. Patreon supporters get access to all sorts of perks and benefits, and you can read about those benefits on my Patreon page. I'd like to put a big thank you out there to all of my current Patreon supporters. Your support means the world, not only to me, but to the future of this channel. And an extra special thanks to my upper tier Patreon supporters. You'll see their names in the end credits of this video. And finally, if you'd like to buy an Eric's Trains t-shirt or anything else I might be selling, check out the Eric's Trains online store at ericstrains.com/store. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm Eric Siegel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.